Hi, I'm going to tell you a ghost story. It's called the Owensboro Ghost Story. The story's made up, but the place is real. Right. So this couple, they lived in Owensboro, Kentucky. They lived down by the river, to the left of the river park. And they were up in their 90s, and they never watched TV. They would just listen to the radio, big band radio, and she would knit and he would read every night. All those years. Well, one night in early October, they're listening to the radio like they usually do as they wind down, and about 9 o'clock, static comes on the radio, kind of like a CB, but they didn't think nothing of it. Again, the next night, static, but they can kind of hear it's like a CB radio. Third night, they're listening because, they're older and Owensboro's kind of boring sometimes. So at 9 o'clock, they're listening, and sure enough, the static came on, but this time it was a woman's voice, and she said, "I didn't know," and it died out. Well, that was interesting to them. So the next night, they were for sure watching. It's at listening at 9 o'clock. They listening to the radio, waiting expectantly, and sure enough, a voice comes on. This time, it's a boy, and he says, "I didn't know," and that dies out. Whoa, they think. The next night, they're listening. It's at 9 o'clock again, and it's a woman's voice, and she says, "I didn't know," and it dies out. Well, this happens for like a week and a half, and they don't know what to think of it, but near the end of that period of time, they could tell that there's more. They hear static on the other side of the "I didn't know." Like all of them, all they say is "I didn't know." Well, the next night after that, they're listening, and they hear a man's voice. He says, "I didn't know. I was just putting on my uniform. I didn't know," and it dies. The next night, it's a little girl's voice, and she said, "I didn't know. I was running and playing. I didn't know." Whoa, they're thinking. The next night, they're listening, and it's a woman's voice, and she says, "I didn't know. I was just hanging laundry. I didn't know." Well, this goes on for another week and a half or so. I mean, this time it's always "I didn't know," and then something mundane like "I was planning a party," and it's a different voice every time, very distinctly, different cultures, different voice. Well, near the end of October, it's their anniversary, and they're in their 90s, and the man says to the woman, it's on a Sunday morning, and the man says to the woman, "Honey, it's our anniversary. Let's go on a Sunday drive." He says it's going to be early in the morning. People will either be in at church or they'll be sleeping in, because they got to worry they're in their 90s. She's okay. So he drives to get in the car, and they go up 4th Street until they hit Frederica, and they take a right there on Frederica until they hit the high school in Dairy Queen. They take a left there on 18th Street, and it's a beautiful day, clear as a bell. Like in October in Owensboro, it's clear as a bell. And early Sunday morning, nobody's out, and so they're excited. Like they're enjoying this. They haven't been out in a long time. So they get to the end they get to Litchfield Road at the end of 18th Street, and usually they take a left and come back home. But this time, since it was their anniversary, the old man turns right and takes a right there. And as he turns the corner on Litchfield Road there, his wife says, "Honey, look." And he says, "What?" She says, "Look over there. There's a cemetery." And he says, "Well, so what?" She said, "Didn't you see in that cemetery, there was a radio tower in that cemetery?" And as the man she's like, those voices, and the next scene, crash, there's a sound, a big loud sound, and the next scene, the little old man and a little old woman look way below them at the car wreck and look at each other and say, "I didn't know. We didn't know. We were just driving." The Owensboro ghost story. Nobody knows the day they're going to die. Peace. This is Candy at Urban Pioneer. I'm glad you're here.